Listeners are as important as our guests. Join in on the conversation. 504-341-8255, the New Orleans Talk Network.
This is Congressman Cedric Richmond, and you're watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Hi, I'm Sheriff Joe Lapinto, and you are watching the New Orleans Talk Network.
Good evening. Thank you for joining me today. This is you and your credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. Over the weekend, I had an opportunity to do a lot of investigations and have conversations with some of the vendors that I do business with. And one of the most important topics that came up that out of my conversations was that I should actually dig into what's available on the website. We would like an opportunity to help everyone improve their credit scores, but some people want to do it themselves. And I don't blame you. I think that learning how to maintain a good credit score is very important. I don't know if you're aware of this, but not very long ago, I was diagnosed with cancer. I was selling cars at a car dealership here in town, one of the top salespeople, and I became so ill I could barely walk. And so as a result of the things that were going on, it left me in a situation where I could barely function, let alone try to maintain my 800 beacon score. So consequently, over a period of 2 years, I saw things go up and down and up and down, just like anyone else, and so you start trying to use uh, your skills to uh, to push push the envelope to raise your scores, to keep your scores. It's a part of who I am. That uh, I'm an advocate for good beacon scores. And the reason why I'm like that is because of the time that I spent in the car business and all the tears and misery that I saw from people over the years who needed cars and and couldn't get approved. And there's so many simple ways to move your score from a 450 to a 500 to a 500 to a 600 to a 600 to a 700. There's so many easy, simple, uh, little prescriptions that are available to us, but because we are in such a hurry, and when someone's like an advocate like myself, who's trying to slow you down and say, "Hey, look, do this," and it'll get you there. Now, if you go to my website, there are some important documents, some important information that's on the website. It tells you, you can find information on the Federal Trade Commission, on, on why uh, you have an opportunity to improve your credit scores. And most people have no idea that this is uh, information that they can readily use. But you can't use information that you can't certify. And you can't certify information unless you actually have a copy of your credit report. And I've been an advocate for this for years. If you go to my website, you will be able to pull up all three credit reports, all three, not just two, all three credit reports, and for 7 days, it's completely free. Now, what's important about this is that, think about it. You've got all three credit reports. You can print them. You can download them. You can keep a copy in your, in your computer or in your phone. You can always go back and reference that information. Or here's what you can do: for the price of having the free credit score as a monitoring system, free credit reports as a monitoring system, I will do your dispute letters free of charge. Now, we're often trying to make great value for people. I've seen there's so many simple ways, very simple ways to improve your credit score. If you walk into a car dealership and you're 400 or 350 or 450 or less than a 500 beacon score, shame on you, because there's so many simple ways to improve your score. The- but you have no idea how to do that. Now, here's the thing: if you go to youandyourcredit.us, there's a button. It says, not that one, the next one. It says, free credit report right there. Free credit report. That's that's the number. You press the button, fill out the information, get a copy of your free credit report. If you do that, then you'll be supporting youandyourcredit.us, because everything has a cost. Nobody's doing this stuff for free. This show costs money to publish. Uh, the website costs money to publish. And we want to help, if we're going to help other people, and we're not just going to be selfish about our situation. I get these phone calls, not really phone calls, but I get phone calls from people that I've helped over the years. There are times when I'll be walking around like as I said earlier, I went to I went through a situation where I could barely walk. So as a result of that time, I I would go to Harris and walk around in the casino. It was a nice, safe place. It was large. It was nice and cool. And I would just kind of walk around and try to get exercise along with my physical therapy. Trying to get my wheels back under me. You know, to assume that you're the only person who have it difficult is so untrue. It doesn't make any sense because you don't have to even look for you don't have to look for at all to find other people who's got it worse than you do. But there, as I said earlier, the first thing is okay. I'm going to need a car this summer. My car, it's running hot. If I use the air conditioner, is I'm going to be on the side of the road with my kids. All right. Now here's the alternative. I'm going to uh, pull up that website that Mr. Remus has been talking about. I'm going to get a copy of my credit report. I'm going to send him the information he needs to do my first dispute letters for me that he's not going to charge me to do. There's absolute, we're not going to charge you a fee to put you in the system. We're not going to charge you to mail out the information or anything. My objective is to build this into something that affects my neighborhood, affect the people that that are counting on opportunities to be able to live normal financial lives. Earlier today, I read a post, and I don't know if you know, I say it all the time. I love to read. It's one of my one of the most fascinating things that I do because it gives me an opportunity to have insight into what other people are feeling. Because people when they put information out there, and I'm on Facebook and uh, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. So we're pretty much all over the place. But when people put the information out there about about how they're feeling or how the difficulties or even the great things that they're going through, they publish this, and so you get an opportunity to have a little insight what people are going through. The biggest issue is over 200,000, excuse me, 200 million Americans have less than good credit scores. What's a good credit score? 667 is an average credit score. But most people in the United States, most people that are listening to this show, and some of them do because I've had an opportunity to work with many people, and I'm so proud of some of the response that we've gotten uh, when they're buying houses. And I got a phone call last week from a guy who used to work with me at Toyota New Orleans. He says, Mr. Remus, I'm so glad that you set me down and you gave me this information. I'm getting ready to go to active sale on my new house. And he's not the first person to say that. It's just a part of the deal. People were very apprehensive to do things because they, they have a tendency to feel that they can't overcome it. I will tell you this: if you go on the website and you pull up your credit report and you see some information, let's say a lot of people are very private about these issues. These are secured sites, by the way. This is a secure site. I don't get an opportunity. I will not see your credit report unless you ask me to. Unless you send me an email requesting that I help you or provide information to you, then that's the only way I can help you with your credit. I will not, if by going on my site and getting your free credit report, is not going to make your information readily available to me or anyone else. This is again, it's a secured site. So because it's a secured site, very little information is available to people unless they have what's known as a login. So as a result, unless you give me that login, we won't be able to see it. It's time for our first break. This is You and Your Credit on the New Orleans Talk Network, and we're going to give you some additional information that you're going to be able to use pretty soon to start improving your credit score. We'll be right back.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
Here at Jones Insurance, your full-service agency, let us take care of all your insurance needs. We provide homeowners insurance, flood, rental, commercial, auto, and life insurance. Don't let the unexpected tragedy destroy your family's future. Here at Jones Insurance, 7603 West Bank Expressway, Monroe, Louisiana, 772. Contact Lois at 504-348-1492.
Hi, I'm Remus Bowman. I'd like to invite you to join me every Monday at 12 o'clock. We're going to provide information for you that's going to give you the opportunity to feel confident in whatever it is that you need. When you have a good credit score, you can get whatever you want at a low price, low interest rates, and that's the way it is. That's You and Your Credit on Mondays at 12 o'clock. I'll see you then. Now, this is You and Your Credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. I'm your host, Remus Bowman. I'm often tell people to check their credit scores, right? So most people are dependent on was it Credit Karma? Credit Karma is a great product. It really is. But here's what you don't know about Credit Karma. When you submit a information to Credit Karma to have information removed from your credit report, they're not sending that information directly to the credit reporting agencies. Now, what you don't know is the credit reporting agencies have a responsibility to provide correct information. Your lender, the person who's putting the information on your credit report, they don't have that response. They're not bound by law, and such, unless you catch them, they'll never remove it. So you'll be going to Credit Karma, and you'll be filing disputes, and then they'll send the information to the collection agency, and the collection agency comes back and says, hey, this information is correct. What happens is, unless you submit submit information to the credit bureaus, which are bound by law, the credit bureaus have a responsibility to provide correct information. And it's a well-known fact that 80% of all information that's being published on the credit bureaus right now, 80% is incorrect. So here's the problem that you have. When you submit a dispute to a lender, or a collection agency, they're always going to say, hey, that information is correct. Now, how do you bend the wheel? How do you make it so that you get the information updated correctly on your credit file? The lender's not required to publish correct information. They don't really care. Their objective, the business of collecting debt, is what they do. That's how they make their money. This is all about making money. Now, there's an old saying: a fool and his money will soon part. So it's very foolish of someone to assume that someone who's publishing incorrect information, and they generally know what the situation is with the information that they're publishing on the credit report. They already know the loopholes in it and whether or not they can provide uh, certification or correct information to the bureaus certifying that this information is correct. You will see collection agencies on your credit report for accounts that are over 10 years old, over 7 years old. How do you know that? Well, you won't know that because you haven't seen your credit report. You know, uh, I develop. I have a tendency to try to develop uh, kinships and relationships with my clients, and some people uh, they listen and they have better response than others. You're giving them information, you slow them down, you say, hey, do this, do that, do the other thing. And, they'll call you and they'll say, well, I got this notice for XYZ. And, of course, I try to give them the best information I can so that they won't run into a bigger problem. The difference in you're submitting information to the creditor versus you're submitting information to the credit bureau is the creditor already knows the flaws that's in the information that they're submitting. They could Their objective is to merely create a line of communication with you to try to somehow collect the debt. Now, most of his debt is being purchased at tremendously reduced price. There's a statute of limitation. It's only three years in most states, but some cases it might be four, which means that after that 3 or 4 year period, that the debt hasn't been collected, then it becomes uncollectible because the creditor has written that debt off as a bad debt on their financial statements and gotten a tax credit for the bad debt, and so they really have very little uh, investment at that time in collecting the debt, although they certainly would like to have it because it's money that they put out and you fail to pay back at a reasonable amount of time at a profitable situation. So as a result, the lender goes out. Now he's already written the account off on his taxes, and now he's going to sell that debt to a collection agency. Now, collection agencies generally know exactly what they're doing when they take on a debt. And when they file that information with the credit bureau, sometimes they don't file on purpose the correct information. But whatever will get your attention and have you contact them, that's where the rubber meets the road. So on the uh, on the credit reports, on the company that provides the credit reports, I guess I should start with the name of the company, and this is a co-branded situation where we're somewhat in partnerships with them on my site. Not all the other they have co-branded relationships with with lots of people who do credit repair. And but they're major players. It's called My Free Credit Score now. They're secure. They're a secure site. So if you go on the site and you pull your information, it's not going anywhere. It's between you, that computer, and not even the people who own the company can readily pull your personal information without having your information. And that the only way for them to get that information is for you to provide it for them. You know, on the site, you'll see something called a score tracker and a builder and a master. And then you'll also see a money manager. You also see small credit report, and ID theft and alerts. So when you go on the site and you register and you get your free credit report, you'll have an opportunity to get all this information that is going to provide an opportunity for you to get your credit score improved. But first things first, you must go to youandyourcredit.us. That's youandyourcredit.us. Pull up your credit report and then analyze it. And, there's some things that, for example, I got a phone call not very long ago from a guy who had a lot of inquiries on his report. Do you know that when you have, now, inquiries stay on your credit report for 2 years, but when you have 20, 30, 40 inquiries in a 2-year period, that's going to pull your credit score down. When you have too many excessive inquiries, it's like putting a noose around your neck, and you can look at your credit report and say, what is the problem? Why is my score so low? Let's look at this. Let's look at everything. How many inquiries do I have? Now, it may seem that those inquiries came out of nowhere, but when you walked into, if you were trying to buy a car, chances are that car dealer ran your report, submitted your credit application to upwards of 10 plus. In some cases, I've seen, and not at the dealership where I was most recently, that was Toyota, but I've seen over the years where people will walk into a car dealership with a 700 Beacon score, and by the time the guy in finance got through with that report, it was in the 600s. They had weighed that report down and drove the scores down because they were trying to, they may have been trying to get you the best financing, but in some cases, I've seen situations where people have been. This was an opportunity for someone to stop you from being able to go someplace else and buy a car at the best possible rate. So what happens is, let's say, for example, you're buying a car. Your 700 Beacon score, so you qualify for 1.1% or 99.99% or 0%, and you walk in and you decide you don't want to do that deal. How do you know how many inquiries that guy submitted on your credit report? Because now your score, when you left that dealership, when you walked in the dealership, you were 700. When you walked out, you were less than 650. And the reason why that happened is because this is how people bring you back to their dealership. Because if once you give them the opportunity to run your credit report, sometimes they do what they want. Not all dealerships play it fair. This is You and Your Credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. It's time for our second break. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Now New Orleans has a choice. Download the New Orleans Talk Network app for your mobile device or listen at www.neworleanstalknetwork.com.
New year, new show. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm coming back at you with the new year of Horizons with Meet the World Image Solutions. And this year, we're moving to Monday night with brand new exciting guests and engaging literary conversation. And we want our listening audience to be there with us because this is going to be a year you will not forget. Catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m., right here on the New Orleans Talk Network. And you can also reach us on the Meet the World Image Solutions Facebook page, the Meet the World Image Solutions YouTube page, and we're on Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. So catch us every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you there.
Are you looking for a home to live stream your next event? Give us a call here at Bethesda Community Event Center, the only place on the Gulf Coast that can host and broadcast live your wedding reception, your baby shower, business seminar, and any other special event. Give us a call at 504-708-9454 for more details.
We're back. I've noticed that this is Remus Bowman on the New Orleans Talk Network. This is you and your credit. Thank you for staying with me. I've noticed that a lot of people go to my website and they don't go through it. So consequently, because you're only looking at the first page, the home page, you don't know what's on the website. Now there's a page on the website that says improve your credit. If you go to that page and you go to the bottom of the page, you'll be able to get the addresses for all three credit reporting agencies. You'll be able to find the address for Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. So a lot of times people will want to submit information update that's at the product, improve your credit score. And you got to press it, is improve your credit score. At the bottom, you'll be able to pull it. It says improve your credit score. If you want to submit information to the credit bureaus on your own, you can. My producers going through the information that's on this page, you can see that's the Fair Credit Reporting. There we go. Improve your credit scores. If you need the address for Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, it's on the page. It's on the credit report, on the website. And a lot of times people, or they'll pull a copy of the credit report and say, well, what do I do with this? Well, okay, this is the address. Equifax's address, Experian's address, TransUnion's address. Right there on youandyourcredit.us. Now, by providing this information for you, it gives you the opportunity to send your dispute letter directly to the credit reporting agency yourself. Now, if you want me to do it, all you've got to do is stay in the monitoring program. And, the reason why we want to do it that way is because this program, by you having this, being in this website, it gives me easy access. Once you give me your login, once you give me the information I need, it gives me easy access to be able to pull it up and to be able to go over that same information with you while you have questions. If you have questions about your credit report, or let's say for example you're 650 and you want to raise your scores to 750 or to 800, I can even help you do that. If you go to now, we've been around for quite a while. As a matter of fact, our first show was in July 2014. So we've got a whole library of information on YouTube. It's You and Your Credit on YouTube. So if you'll go to the YouTube channel, you'll be able to find information. I'm sure we've got information there that will help you with your situation. But if you'd like to ask me questions and you're at the website, there's a page there on the home page. As soon as you open the website up, you'll be able to see it, and it'll say fill out this form for free consultation. Now, if you fill that form out for free consultation, it'll come to me. That information will be emailed to me. Again, I'm the only person that'll see it. I'll contact you either by email or by phone call, and I'll be able to pull up your credit report. And once I pull up your credit report, you'll have a copy of it, or you'll be looking at it at the same time. So we can consult with you and tell you what it is that you need to do. Now, the reason why you want to do this yourself or have someone help you to remove information off your credit report is because doing this electronically gets you nowhere. One of the things that most people are not aware of is that, well, there's all these companies that provide copies of my credit report, and I can submit my displeasure with the information through them. Again, as I said earlier, that information, the only place that information is going is directly to the creditor who put the information in the first place. So you don't have a arbiter that's looking at the information to decide whether or not that information is true and correct, or if it's even legal for that information to be on your credit report. There are many ways that information is being reported on your credit reports that are shady, to put it easily. Now, the end result of this, as a result of the incorrect information, I've seen people credit reports go up 200 points in 4 to 6 weeks. So how would you like to walk in, see your credit report, and go from a 450 to a 650 in 4 to 6 weeks? Now, that's not typical, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens a lot, because once we have an opportunity to evaluate what's on your report, we'll be looking at the inquiries, we'll be looking at the information that's being published, whether or not that information is true and correct. We'll be asking for validation of your debt. There's lots of different ways to do validation letters. It's out there. The information's out there about validation letters. But if you're gonna do a validation letter, you don't want to go all in on the first time that you're submitting that information to the credit bureaus, because then you got nowhere to go. So you're boxing yourself in. So, but validation letters are good to use, but it's not what you want to use on the first time that you submit information to the credit bureaus. You want to do it, do your letters in a systematic way that is going to increase the need for verification of this debt. Because if you submit the application and say, I need validation letters on all these debts, they're gonna probably look at you like you're crazy, and and say, wow. But if you systematically, ask for that information and verification of the debt, and more verification, because there's different levels to this thing, and systematically, you can eventually have that debt removed from your credit report, because if it doesn't stand to the test of validation, then it has to be removed. And in order for information to be published on your credit report, it has to be, they have to be able to verify that this debt is true and correct and belongs to you. Also showing that you actually signed for the debt, that it's something that you went into knowingly, that that they can verify that you accepted responsibility for this debt. And if they can't do that, then there's a great possibility of having it removed. There's so many different laws that can be used to remove incorrect information from your credit report. Now, I realize that in many cases, a lot of times the information that's published, it's you. But does that mean that you are bound and you agree with the fact that that information that's being published on the credit report is true and correct? It's just like when you talk to a lender, when a collection agency calls you and they want to discuss your debt, do you go right in and say, "Oh man, yeah, how can we resolve this issue?" Do you ever think to say, "Well, it's a collection agency, so that means that the debt, the full amount of the debt, may not need to be paid. Maybe I can make an offer." We have letters that we send to creditors and to collection agencies, asking for an opportunity to mediate the debt. But do you pay the debt before you have it removed, before there's an agreement to have information removed from your credit file? There are many different ways or many different reasons why you want to talk to a guy like me. Because I talk to people all the time and say, "Well, I've decided that I'm going to pay the information that's on my credit report." Okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to pay the debts that's on my credit report, and it's still going to be reported as a paid collection item. Why would you want to do that? It's about the same as not paying it. It's still going to have an adverse effect on your credit report. So what do you want to do that's going to make life better even after you pay the credit report, pay the debt? Hey, this is You and Your Credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. I'm your host, Remus Bowman. It's time for our last break. We'll be right back.
Listen up. Your customers, our listeners, could be hearing about your business right now. Yeah, right now. Don't miss out on the opportunity to advertise with NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. Call our business department today at 504-475-4793 to hear about our great rates. NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com. We provide the people, you provide the business.
Well, what's up, everybody? This is boy Coach Hurricane here. You can follow me on Facebook at Henry Singleton or on Twitter at HenryHayoU15.
Listen, this is your boy Fred. Listen, you can follow me on Facebook at Brandon Fred Jones, or you can follow me on Twitter at BFredJones.
This is Jeremiah Gray, man, with G Sports. You can follow me on Facebook, Jeremiah Gray, AKG, and on Twitter, G_paid in full 08.
Pay me the money! money.
This is Charles Stewart.
And the Reverend Dr. Anthony Williams.
We are Church Without Walls.
And we are here today to give you information that you don't normally get at church.
We come your way every Monday morning, 11 to 12.
Call in with your comment or your questions, and we'll be glad to try and answer them for you. If we don't have the answer today, we will get it to you on a message.
Don't you dare miss it.
Okay, we're back. Now, here's the thing. So, you want to do the right thing. So you say, well, I'm going to call this creditor and I'm going to pay this debt. I really feel that I owe it, so I'm going to pay this debt. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's a great noble thing to do. But when you're talking to the credit reporting agency or the collection agency or the person that you owe the money to, do you think to ask them for a credit courtesy update on your credit file so that it doesn't represent, such adverse information? Do you ever think to do that? Say, well, I'm going to have, I'm going to pay you, and you're going to report that it's a paid off debt. But it's going to be a paid off collections debt, paid off collections. So it's still going to have an adverse effect. So having that paid off debt on your credit report doesn't help you near as much as you think it should. It may help you to some degree, but not near as much as you'd like it to. So having it removed, now, here's the thing. If it were me, and I had a debt at the collection agency, and the collection agency was talking to me. They were, we were finalizing the opportunity for me to pay the debt. I made an agreement. I'm going to pay the debt. Do you ever think to say, well, I'll pay this debt if you remove it from my credit file? Do you ever think to say, I'll pay the debt if you will remove it from my credit file? Now, here's the thing. Let's say, for example, you did pay a debt off, and you came to me or came to us, and we had a copy of your credit report. It was still being reported on your credit report. There's a better than average probability, not possibility, but probability that this information will be removed from your credit file with a little bit of encouragement from us. So paying the debt off doesn't actually help you as much as you'd like it to, because you have all the things that all the reasons why. Think about it. Your credit report is based on your payment history. So your credit report's based on your 35% of your credit reports based on your payment history. So if you have a poor payment history on that account and you pay that account off, it's still going to reflect those missed payments in the computer system. So it's still going to take away from your score. So that's a debt. Generally, you want to pay it off, but you want to have it removed completely from your credit file. So if that if that person that you owe the money to, or the collection agency does not agree to remove it from your file, then you've got to play a little hardball and not make the payment. But first off, be careful on how you communicate with these people, because most of this information is being recorded. So if when they go to send information verifying the debt, let's say for example, you call the a collection agency, and you're trying to make a payment. You're trying to solve this debt. Now, what happens is they generally record the conversation. So if things don't go well, then what happens is it ends up still being on your credit report and you never paid it. Or if you contact them and you pay the debt as a condition of paying the debt, that they will remove the information from your credit file. That's important. If you don't have the information removed, then it doesn't really do you any good. To get maximum benefit of the sacrifice that you're making, we have a tendency to want to do right, to want to do the right thing. And we come in contact with, we have our income taxes. There are different windfalls that happen in our lives where we might come into a little bit of money and we say, well, I came into this money, I want to clear up my debt. So clearing up the debt and keeping the information on your credit file don't really help. Not as much as you think. So again, 35% of your credit file, of your credit score, is based on your payment history. So, so that's one of the reasons why, as a condition of payment, to always ask for removal. Updating the file is one thing, but removal gets you where you want to be. Because having that information completely taken out of your file, it'll give you a breath of fresh air. If you want to see marginal increases in your score, you may want to go back to that page I was telling you about, the Improve Your Credit page. Get the addresses of the different credit bureaus, submit to them your current information, address, phone number, employment, and that kind of thing. If you send that information to them, update your file. Generally, that'll cause them to increase your score a little bit. So you might be able to get out of the 400s into the 5s just by submitting an affidavit to them, updating your current address and current employment. And again, if you go to the website, there's a mechanism in that website, the Free Credit Score Now website, that will give you ideas on how to improve your credit score. First things first, get a copy of a free credit report. It's available to you, all 3 credit reports, all 3 credit scores, and it's not going to adversely affect your credit score. Federal law gives you the opportunity to pull your scores without a penalty. And this would be akin to that, because you'll be pulling your own credit, own scores, and you'll see what's on all of them. all 3 credit reports free of charge. You and your credit on the New Orleans Talk Network. Thank you for joining me, and have a great week. We'll see you Monday.